I would like to introduce our panelist, he will introduce the panelist, I will introduce him. How about that? So, Giorgio Racca. I would like to introduce him. He is the head of ESG corporate initiatives at Avvale. And you can stand right here. Let me say something about you. Mr. Racca is a pivotal board member at Avvale, steering the corporate ship with a focus on corporate social responsibility and strategy. His journey with the company began in 2007, where he initially championed corporate organization development and talent management. With that said, let me give the floor to you, sir, and you can introduce your panelists.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Let me call our panelist. First of all is Vito. Can you come in? Vito, Saluto. Then I will ask you to introduce yourself briefly, please.
All right. Buongiorno. Good morning, everyone. My name is Vito Saluto. I'm served like head of ESG at AMEA Power, who is essentially a company who develop, build, and operate renewable energy projects across Africa, Middle East, and Asia. Good morning.
Merham, Yousri, please come on board. And
good morning, everyone. Coming from Egypt, I'm the head of sustainability or ESG and customer excellence, Abu Dhabi Commercial Bank, Egypt based. I've been working in the ESG field for 8 years now. Since the people see it like coming from as an alien or something, talking about things they don't understand, till today that we are seeing the matter evolving happily. And Egypt actually is very progressing. There is a lot of regulation. I will be talking about how the scene is being formulated toward empowering the ESG. Thank you.
thank you. Ashish, Gokhale, please.
Good morning, everyone. So I am Ashish Gokhale, working in National Bank of Fujairah. So I am new into ESG, I'll be honest. I have been in this field for a year. I am a corporate banker from trade finance background for the last 15 years. And I have now, for the last 2 years, looking at the ESG strategy and sustainable finance for National Bank of Fujairah. And yeah, happy to be here. Thank you.
Then we have Dana Darwish, wide UAE.
Hello, good morning everyone. My name is Dana Darwish. I have 2 roles. So first, I am a chapter leader at Women in Renewable Energy. That is a Canadian NGO supporting women all over the world in the sustainability field and in the energy fields. At the same time, I'm also a senior consultant in ESG advisory at WSP in Middle East, supporting all the clients all across the sectors here in the region, supporting them in their ESG journey. Prior to that, I was also a climate change and sustainability consultant at EY and a research assistant at an environmental faculty at University of Freiburg in Germany. So it's a pleasure to see you all here, and I'm looking forward to this discussion.
And finally, Oxana Alipio of Azeus Convene, please.
So hello everyone, good morning. I am Oxana. I am based in the Philippines. I am the ESG product specialist of Convene ESG. So we provide digital solution for companies to aid in their sustainability reporting. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you, everybody. Please, you can sit in. You hear me? You hear me? Does it work?
Hello.
Hello? Yes, now yes. So, the topic of today will take probably an entire day to be discussed, so let's go straight on the point. Ashish, I would like to start with you. Can you go to... Let's go straight. What does it mean to integrate ESG corporate strategy in a corporate strategy, basically? Shall we talk about sustainability strategy, or we are too far away from that? Thank you.
Thanks. So as I mentioned, I come from a banking background, and I've worked in credit and trade finance for maybe a decade. So first thing, when I came into this field of sustainability, I realized that most of the times the discussions are maybe around we've talked about the need for fighting climate change, social causes. It comes from a moral lens. Now, personally, I think the issue with that is it's okay to start discussions around a moral lens, but their limitations are in scaling, because everybody has different views or different moral standards about these things. So what has happened for the last 2 years, when we talk of reporting, we talked of ESG integration into investments, is the recognition that sustainability is closely linked to your business strategy. Finally, in a very simple terms, sustainability is the balance between long-term existence and short-term needs in everything when it comes to climate. So when it comes to your business, how do you ensure that your business stays as a viable, profitable concern in the long term without compromising on its short-term needs? Now, when you talk of sustainability strategy and business strategy linkage, I think there are three main pillars. One, efficiency. Now, sustainability, if you look at most of the things which come as a result of sustainability, it leads to efficiency. You talk of reducing carbon emission, moving to cheaper sources of energy, etc. Finally, it will lead to efficiency, maybe even in the short term. We have worked with many clients where they have worked on technologies to reduce their emissions. They see a straight impact on their cash flow or bottom line because it reduces their energy cost. So that is efficiency. Second is risk management. When it comes to risk management, sustainability has an impact on your risk management. For example, there is a physical risk. If you have physical assets in areas which are prone to climate change, you recognize that, you take efforts and steps to mitigate the efforts of climate change. So there is an impact of sustainability on the physical risk. Second, typically you call it transition risk. If you are in a business which is where your products are threatened by substitutes which are maybe low carbon, then are you making effort to transition your product or develop new products to combat this transition? So that is transition risk. And third, and the most important is, as I said, your long-term financials. Finally, whatever we may say about GRI and the reporting frameworks, the key is recognition that they have a linkage to your financials in maybe the long term. So you, just two things I may want to pick up. One is changing demand. Now we are seeing all around us. You just talk to anybody in the younger generation, they want sustainable products. Now you may be, for example, you may be in jewelry business. You may think that it may not impact you, but hey, your consumers in the longer term are going to demand products around which are maybe at least seen or perceived to be sustainable. So what are you doing about that? Employees, a lot of research is there that younger employees, they like to be working with companies or firms which are seen to be doing a lot of things on sustainability. So if you look at these three pillars, I think I think there was a talk about board management recognition. The faster that recognition is of this linkage between your sustainability strategy and its impact on your financials and long-term viability, the better the impetus will be within the organization and overall. Thanks.
Thank you, Ashish. Thank you very much. Dana, following what Ashish was saying is, how do you really suggest organization prepare to improve their ESG readiness?
Okay. Can you hear me? Yeah, perfect. So first, as a consultant, I would congratulate the organization for taking this big step towards their ESG journey. But mostly, I would go for doing a current state assessment. it just kind of enhances and also provides an understanding of an organization to where they're standing, their positioning, their capabilities in ESG management and performance. To me, the main three aspects of current state assessment are basically the peer benchmarking, the regulatory framework screening, and then last but not least is stakeholder engagement. So first, starting with the peer benchmarking, the main objective of the peer benchmarking should be to capture and identify the leading practices. And I would highly recommend any organization to select peers that are that belong in the same business, that have the same business profile as them, belong in the same sector, however, differ in size and also differ in their geographical reach. So you would go for local peers, but also global peers. And like that, you would capture the leading practices and you would know as an organization where I'm standing against my peers, the other companies. The second aspect, as I mentioned, was the regulatory framework screening. But this is not only limited to requirements or regulatory or obligations, etc. This would also include, screening, like what my colleague said over here. What is the public moving towards to? What are the trends? What are the expectations from customers? What are the expectations from investors as well? So that's also very important because an organization would know, this is how I'm standing against the expectation. This is what is expected of me, and this is what I'm required to comply with as well. And last but not least is stakeholder engagement, because of course it's good for a company to have an ESG strategy, an ESG target, an ESG policy, etc. You name it. However, what is mostly important with ESG is the culture. So the understanding of what ESG means or what matters most to this company. So you would engage with stakeholders across diverse departments from different levels, which is very important to understand. Do you know what ESG is? Do you know what your company's ESG stance is? What is their commitment, basically? What does ESG mean to you? How do you feel like the company is influencing, the communities around you, its people, the environment, etc. Because at the end of the day, stakeholder engagement is at the heart of this. And if you don't have the right culture in place, 100% the company or the organization would fail to, reach its ESG aspirations.
Thank you very much. Talking about culture, I have a question for Merham. Merham, basically, how banking sector is managing the ESG risk, and how is prioritized ESG culture, basically? I let you.
I believe I will reflect on my colleague Diana in terms of the building blocks to have a real ESG framework in the organization, a doable one. You have to understand your context, but yet it's very dynamic, by the way. So you have to have the dedicated resources who always look at what's happening to make sure that you are cascading. If you are in my case, I'm the ESG head, so I have to be very aware of what's happening around to cascade this to the management and the different department heads to take the right decision. Of course, you have to have first a kind of a strategy based on the materiality that you will decide as a management or executives or the board, yet you may change it a bit, maybe because of regulatory requirement, maybe on whatever happening in the market you are based in. So this is really important, having someone who is dedicated to look at what's happening and cascade it to make the right decision. This is one thing. Second, you have to have a dedicated champions across the board. This is based on practice. It's very successful. Having champions from the different departments who believe in the cause, because at the end of the day, this is a transformational topic or a transformational point where you have to have believers who will be pushing the file across the board. You will not be able to do it if you are one department. And even if the management, it's coming from top down and leadership, of course, but yet having the champions across the board will accelerate the implementation. And this was our case in ADCB Egypt. The file was very progressing because of the champion across the board. And for the reporting, by the way, I know Dr. Ashraf was mentioning that the reporting come at the end of the cycle, yet I believe having a baseline, understanding where your organization stands, and setting your gap analysis, this will make it easier. Maybe you don't have to publish the report, but at least you have like a framework, a disclosure, you set your disclosure framework, and then you define the gaps you have and set your way forward. So the reporting, from my point of view, it's not just transparency or disclosing to your stakeholder to understand where your organization stands in the ESG. No, it's about gap analysis and making sure that you are progressing year on year. So this is from my point of view that you have to have dedicated resources. You have to have like a monitoring and evaluation, different tools across from external perspective and internal perspective, and of course the reporting to foster the progression. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And talking about corporation, Vito, how can internal function of corporation help to rise the culture of ESG? Talking about like HR, finance department. HR because of people involvement, and finance because basically is where the concept of reporting was born and became really mature. So how can...
Okay, it's working, maybe not. Okay, so I believe that there are many ways actually how HR and finance can support. First of all, HR, any other function, it's important that the ESG role in a corporate is very integrated in the company. So important to get along with the others. I know it might sound very provocating, these issues, but it's important that ESG is dealing with all the function of the company. It's a little bit what Merham was saying before. So if this is the basis, like the start of any discussion. Then regarding HR, so it's important, for example, that there are requirements that are included, for example, in the induction. So when people arrive in the company, at least they are inducted on which are the vision and mission, value of the company, which are the ESG progress and the agenda, and how they should act during the life cycle of the projects of the corporate. Second one could be the training. So training is very, very important. So as long as HR set up like a clear training matrix, needs assessment for people. So in this case, we can have like a corporate workers that are trained on ESG, and the more easy that the company can get the success. Recruitment is again another aspect very important, because it's important already in the job description, for example, to include already elements that can identify already specialists or people that can eventually support the ESG agenda. Regarding finance is fundamental because it represents what feeds the company, right? So I believe important would be, of course, channeling the finance to green energy, so that transition energy, so support the technology that advance the sustainability agenda of the company. Make sure that finance can support the CSR projects, for example, that can support again, which is the strategy, the framework that the company has in place in terms of ESG. And in general, let's say, make sure that the company have what needs. So in terms of people, resources, what is required to advance the sustainability agenda of a company.
Thank you very much. So we have been talking about strategy, commitment, people, culture. What about technology, Oxana? How can technology support either the reporting phase as well as the introduction of sustainability within a corporation?
All right. Hello. Yeah, okay. So Sustainability reporting faces challenges regarding consolidating different types of data. What else? Traceability of data, as well as monitoring and tracking the progress of your ESG data. So all of these challenges will benefit from a digital solution that allows them to automate workflows and processes, integrating different types of data from different sources, especially for ESG, wherein there are different sources of information with very varying types of data. So for example, GHG emissions, we have different emission factors from different sources for different activity data and so on. And then next is traceability of data. So by having a digital platform that will support auditability of data and allows for recording of changes, embedding workflows, and approval of data, will ensure the accuracy of the information and the ESG data that you will be produced. And then lastly is to address the monitoring and tracking of your ESG progress in order to see where your organization stands within the ESG domain. So by having all of these information in one digital repository, you will be able to have an overview of your data and as well as integrate your goals, and using artificial intelligence or any analytics, you will be able to see and project how far are you from your sustainability targets. Yeah,
thank you, Roxana. And thank you to everybody for today's discussion. We are available, of course, for sharing with you and going more in depth on those kind of topics. Thank you.